Hey guys, Ezra Levant here. How you doing? It's July 3rd. I am the Rebel Commander, which is, I want to let you know that's sort of fake news. I'm not actually a commander, never served in the armed forces, but I call myself the Rebel Commander here at Rebel News. It's slightly self-deprecating, but also gives an indication of our fighting spirit. And every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I sit down for an hour of live chatting with you. And YouTube has something called a super chat, where if you put your comments in, I see there's a super chat right there, spend a few bucks behind it, it puts your comment in a bright color, and it's stuck to the top of the window there, and I make a point of reading all the super chats because they help us. We get to keep 70% of the dough. YouTube takes the other 30%, and it's lots of fun. Now, I am in high spirits because we've had a great week or two. Well, we've had a great year at Rebel News. In fact, you know, our viewership is strong. Our subscribers is at an all-time high. Even though YouTube is throttling our traffic, we'll never be allowed to have the kind of viral vids we had in 2016. As you know, in January, February 2017, YouTube made a deliberate and conscious decision to demonetize, deplatform, and de-boost, that's their language, conservative sites. But still, the quality of our work can still bring hundreds of thousands and occasionally millions of viewers to a video. And we had such a moment this week when we rolled out our visit to City Hall. Throw a little bit of that up as B-roll if you can. For those who missed it, and I'm pretty sure everyone here saw it, I went down there with David Menzies because David Menzies was sort of kicked out of Toronto's City Hall Plaza by a bunch of Antifa hoodlums. And that's bad enough, but what bugged me the most was that City Hall security, and in fact real police, gave David the ouster himself. I went back with David the next day. You can see there's a security guard. We blur the face of the security guards. We went back with 7 security, plus 5 cameras, plus there's me. And I don't know if you can see him. There's my lawyer on the other side of me. He's not in these shots, but there he is. There's the lawyer there with the beard. So we went down heavy. And I said to the cops there, I said, look, I'm going in. You can arrest me. You can let me go in and get it beat up, or you can actually go in with me. And wouldn't you know it, they went in. Can we play my favorite part where I'm marching in now, and I start doing my journalism. And I don't know if we can get some sound up. These guys, that's campus security there. Ezra Levant here for rebelnews.com. I'm standing in the town square of Toronto.
Corporate security, we're trespassing you from the property for causing disturbance.
I haven't caused a disturbance. Stop lying, please. Please stop lying. Please don't lie on TV.
You're interfering with this peaceful demonstration.
Please don't lie on TV.
Sorry, you gotta go.
Please don't lie.
You gotta go.
You have to go.
No, I don't.
Sorry, you have
leave
to go.
the property.
Well, here's my lawyer. You can talk to him, okay? I'm okay. I'm gonna keep doing my work. If you guys want to interfere, what's your name? What's your name? Show me your ID.
He has been trespassed.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
Show me your ID.
Well, right here. This is mine. Right here.
I can't see your name. Stop hiding your name. Yusuf Kassam.
Yes,
and what grounds are you ejecting
I'm asking
me?
you to leave. You've already seen my ID.
Asking me to leave is in the grounds. All right. Talk to my lawyer or talk to one of the kids.
Okay, sir.
Talk to my lawyer or talk to one of the kids. By the way, when you're 48 years old like I am, kids is anyone under 30. Really anyone under 40. So when I say talk to the kids, there were no actual children there. That's just when you're as old as me, you know, someone who's 25, that's a kid. So that's what I meant there. But I wasn't going to have any of that. There were so many things there that I enjoyed. That was really the highlight of my day. Asking security for their ID. I wasn't going to show them my ID. I don't talk to strangers. Stranger danger. But I demanded their ID, and I grilled them a little bit. But I said some very powerful things like, don't lie on TV. TV is the last sacred place where no one lies. Don't you know that? I mean, you can lie at City Hall. You can lie in church. You can lie anywhere. I don't recommend it. I'm against lying as a rule. But the one sacred place, the sanctum sanctorum, is TV. Please don't lie on TV. That's the last place where we tell the truth all the time. Holy macaroni, a $200 super chat from Barbara Baxter. Keep up the great work, Ezra. Barbara, I certainly will. Thank you. Holy moly. I'll read all the other super chats too. Thank you. Anyways, so that put me in good spirits to begin with because we fought back and we won. As in, we reasserted ourselves in the town square. We brushed off those mall cops, had a little bit of fun, made a video, and got over 300,000 views. What's the view count on that thing now? I'm guessing it's around 356,000. Well, that's pretty good. Well, so that put me in good spirit, and that was very well received because it was real journalism and defending freedom of press. But then, guys, I don't know if you know this, but I was in lockdown, and for the first little while, my family was in a different province, actually. And so I was bored and lonely. And so obviously I ate a lot, like I had 5 square meals a day, which I hear is one too many. And, when you start to reckon, when you have so many visitors from DoorDash, like there's hundreds of people who work for DoorDash. That's a food delivery service in Toronto. When you start to get to know them on a first name basis, and when that same DoorDash guy comes back twice in one day and says, "Is it just you? There's only one set of forks, cutlery, sir. Are you sure that's enough?" "Yeah, it's just for me." You know you're snacking too much. So, so what did I do? I snacked a lot in the pandemic. I was lonely. But I wrote a book, which is, I suppose, a good thing to do. There may have been a little bit of playground liberation going on. Do you have the first playground liberation clip? The first one, not the second one. So anyhow, when my family came back to town, I started going to the playgrounds a little bit. And playgrounds are, they're locked up and stuff. Why? There's no science behind that. There's no science behind that at all. On Canada Day, I went to the playground again. Maybe there was a little bit of playground liberation going on. And there was a Karen who was biking around and saying, "You can't play on the playground." "I'm not playing on the playground. I wasn't playing on the playground. Maybe the little one was." And I said, "Says who?" And she said, "The government." And I said, "Well." Anyhow, she came back and she kept circling around. And then lo and behold, the government presented itself. And I'm only going to play the first video here because the others are not ready. They're not camera ready yet. But here's me just hanging out on Canada Day. So this is just a couple days ago. Take a look.
How are you? Ezra Levant. Do you come to talk to me? Yeah, I'm going to record it if you don't mind.
It's fine.
Yeah. How you doing today? Happy Dominion Day?
Happy Canada Day.
It's a nice day.
It is nice. Officer Beauchamp of the City of Bylaw Compliance. We had a complaint of a gentleman taking signs down. Were you taking any signs down?
I would never take a sign
No
down.
signs down?
If I find a culprit, though,
You'll let us know?
oh, I will let him know. I'll give him a piece of my mind.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time today.
All right, officer. All right.
Thank you very much.
Go get the bad guys.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Cheers.
Playground patrol. If I find that culprit, officer, I will give him such a talking to. There are more excerpts of the video, but we have to blur some little people before we publish them. Anywho, so that's how I was spending my time. Rebecca Bull, thanks for being Canada's prophets. Well, that is a heavy thing to put on a fella. Although I am named Ezra after a biblical prophet. That's a lot for a guy. Anyways, so I didn't mean to get into the playground patrol business, but I want to show you the video. So what have I done for the last 108 days? That's how long it's been since the lockdown started. Hey guys, just 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 2 weeks to flatten. We got to slow down the infection. Just 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. So we're in the 108th day of the 2 week curve flattening. But I did write a short book. I called it a booklet, a brochure, a pamphlet, a mini book, a quick read. Who's got time for big books? I remember when I bought Conrad Black's third last book. It was this thick. I think it was over 1,000 pages. I mean, I bought it. I paid for it. I got him to sign it. I like the guy. But who's going to read a 1,000-page book? So I wrote a short book. And in April, yeah, there it is. It's called China Virus, How Justin Trudeau's Pro-Communist Ideology is Putting Canadians in Danger. And can you click on that cover? I really like that cover. Okay, now click on the cover again. I just want to pump up the size of the cover for our viewers. Oh, it's not clickable? I think it's a very pretty picture. It's Justin Trudeau with his vacation beard. He's still psychologically checked out. He lost his mojo after blackface. I know you're thinking, oh no, he's still... No, he's not. Yeah, there you go. Ezra Levant, #1 best-selling author of the Libranos. And by the way, I want to let you hold that up there. By the way, I want to let you know that Libranos was only #2. During the entire election, it did not get higher than #2. And frankly, I found that very frustrating. But it was only after Trudeau sent his election commissioner cops after me that it went up to #1. Trudeau. So there's Trudeau with his vacation beard. And that is a stylized Chinese flag, obviously with the virus on it. China Virus, you can see a crowd below. How Justin Trudeau's pro-communist ideology is putting Canadians in danger. So I wrote that book, and frankly, I cranked it out in like 6 weeks. It's not a long book, but I was thinking about the pandemic and China so much, and I was talking about it every day. So frankly, doing a book, hey, I promise I'll get back to the Super Chats. I see them. I just want to, you know, it's 12:12. I'll get to the Super Chats by 12:20. So I'm talking about China. I'm talking about the pandemic. I'm talking about Trudeau. I'm going through stuff, and I'm doing a daily show about it. I'm doing my daily live stream. But I'm thinking, I got stuff here for a book. And I got that great cover, and I was very excited. So it's July 3rd right now. Well, let me show you that in late April, we were done, or done enough. You know, you put the book up, you put the title up, the cover, the details, and then you have like a couple days to upload the guts of it, the inside of it. We have a fellow who does a layout. So we went to do that, and we have, I think, 14 titles that we've sold on Amazon so far. I've had a bunch of books, the Libranos trumping Trudeau. Sheila's had a bunch of books, The Destroyers, Stop Notley, the David Suzuki biography, even some of our former staff, Lauren Southern's Barbarians, Katie Hopkins did a book about South Africa. So we've published, I think, 14 books on Amazon. No complaints. I mean, they're quality books. You can like them or not like them. They actually do very well. My Libranos book has over 600 reviews, and the average review is 4.8 stars out of 5. So we went to upload it, as we have done so 14 times before. Now, the reason it's 14 is because it's considered a different title when something's an e-book or something's a paperback. So 14 books. So this is book 15. And it was rejected. So we did it again, and it was rejected. And so we appealed. And look at this email we got. Can you see the date of it up there? April 25th. Hello. This is from Kindle Direct Publishing. That's the name of Amazon's book publishing. We're contacting you regarding the following books. China Virus, How Justin Trudeau's Pro-Communist Ideology is Putting Canadians in Danger by Levant, Ezra, author ID. Due to the rapidly changing nature of information around the COVID-19 virus, we are referring customers to official sources for health information about the virus. As a result, we are not offering your book for sale. Amazon reserves the right to determine what content we offer according to our content guidelines. You can find our content guidelines on the KDP website. So let me just read that key, put that just for one more second, the key line there. We are referring customers to official sources. You got something to say about the pandemic? Unless you're with the United Nations, you are not allowed. You are not allowed to publish a book. You can get a book on Amazon right now called Mein Kampf by Hitler, but they won't publish my book on the pandemic. You can buy, speaking of China, you can buy Mao's Little Red Book. His version of Mein Kampf actually killed far more people than Hitler did. Some sources say up to 85 million deaths of his own people. Mao killed his own people, but not our book. Now, of course, we are in a litigation mindset these days. So we had our, can you go to the website itself? Yeah, perfect. So can you zoom that just a tiny bit more? So you can see 2 days after we got that refusal, we sent this letter to Amazon Canada and the head of legal, Amazon America. And there's certainly just a whole bunch, and to whom it may concern, we represent Ezra, Levant, and Rebel News Network regarding the above noted matter, and will write this letter on their behalf on an urgent basis as time is of the essence. Mr. Levant is in the final stages of completing his new book entitled Justin Trudeau's Pro, blah, 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 blah. The book. Very recently, Mr. Levant attempted to utilize the feature on Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, which permits him to register and utilize Amazon's platform for pre-orders. Unfortunately, over the weekend, Mr. Levant received an alert declining to offer the book for sale. The reason given was the following, and I read that to you before. Enclosed is a copy of it. Please note that the book is not a health-related book, because I thought that maybe they thought I was giving like medical advice, like home remedies. It does not touch on medical-related theory. It does not question, analyze, or consider the medical origin of the virus, nor health information about its spread. Rather, it is a political science book about the Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau. Mr. Levant strongly urges Amazon KDP to reconsider its decision on the following basis. 1. As noted above, the book is not a medical book, it is political in nature. 2. Mr. Levant and Rebel News Network have collectively produced and sold 7 other books with Amazon before, each in paperback and in ebook format. Those books are still listed on Amazon and include the following bestsellers: The Sopranos, Stop Notley, Trump and Trudeau. Mr. Levant has never had any quality control issues before with his books sold on Amazon. All his books are highly rated on Amazon. 4. Other books with a similar genre as the book are being offered for sale on Amazon. Please note that Mr. Levant is prepared to change the category or genre submitted from non-fiction medical health policy and instead change it to non-fiction political science commentary and opinion. Like whatever, I don't care how they put it in their system. Mr. Levant is further prepared to provide excerpts of said book so Amazon KDP can reconsider. Mr. Levant respectfully, everyone knows I'm famously respectful, requests that the Amazon KDP content guidelines be interpreted and reviewed with the above noted clarification and context in mind. We look forward to hearing from you as soon as possible. Yours very true, Relaw LLP, David Elmaleh. And then it enclosed the enclosure I referred to above. So we sent that out. You could see no grass, no moss grows on us. 2 days after receiving the rejection of our appeal, we sent in that legal huff and puff, and it was completely ignored. They banned my book. Now, I don't want to be banned. Now, obviously, we can sell our book in other ways. Our very first book, The Destroyers, I think we sold it we gave it away for free on our website and sold the paperback. It still became a bestseller. Isn't that crazy? We literally gave it away for free on our website, but it sold so many copies in print version, it still became a bestseller. Unbelievable. So I guess my point is we have the technology, the ability, the history, the track record. We know how to sell a book without Amazon. It's not that hard, actually. But I didn't want to. I wanted to be on Amazon because even though I don't get the names and addresses of who buys the book, so I can't contact people again directly, I still like to be able to sell it on Amazon. It's the world's biggest bookseller. I like the rankings, so I know how my book compares to other books. Like right now, it's number 2 in the Canada best-selling list. That's very exciting to me. For example, with my book, the Libranos, I could see that my book was selling like 10 times more than the government-approved books by Aaron Wary of the CBC State Broadcast. Yeah, look at that. So, yeah, click on that. Click on that. Top 200. Yeah, click on that. So this is a list of bestsellers right now. So, yeah, go down to number, yeah. So the number 4 book in Canada is the Black Lives Matter book called White Fragility. It's basically an anti-white racist book. I'm sorry, it is. Number 3 is John Bolton's anti-Trump book. Number 2 is China Virus. And number 1 is another anti-Trump book, Too Much and Never Enough. It's an anti-Trump book. So isn't it crazy? 3 out of the top 4 books in Canada are anti-Trump books. I think that says something not so great about our Canadian national psychology. We're so obsessed with America, but not just I'm interested, I guess you could even say I'm obsessed with America. It's a great country. It's the country that neighbors us, borders us, trades with us, inspires us, outrages us sometimes. It's an amazing country. But imagine our national dialogue is so consumed, not with criticizing our own awful prime minister, or even discussing Canadian things, but it's a me too. Hey guys, me too. Hey, don't forget about us. It's so subordinate. It's such an inferiority complex. You know, when I moved to Toronto, it was so apparent to me, and I don't even think Torontonians know this, how desperately the establishment fancy pants wish that this was New York. They're always comparing themselves to New York. Hey, Toronto's its own city. I mean, New York's obviously one of the most amazing cities in the world, but there's such an inferiority complex in this city, in this province, in this country. Could you believe, put that back up one more time, the top 10 list, the top 100 list. Can you believe a country, Canada, like if this was the United States, I get it. Black Lives Matter is a big deal down there. There's riots in the street. John Bolton, that's his book, The Room Where It Happened. He was the national security advisor for Trump for not a very long time before Trump fired him. And then that number 1 book, basically an anti-Trump book. What does it say about Canada that 3 out of the top 4 books are not even about our country? They're obsessed with Donald Trump. I'm sorry, that is not a healthy thing. But my book is number 2. And I like that because I like knowing that because I don't control the Amazon algorithm. I don't know how they do it. I presume they count on an hourly or daily basis or whatever. That's why I wanted to be on Amazon. That's why I didn't want to just upload it myself and sell it myself. Although I surely would have made more money if we just sold it directly. I want it to be part of the national conversation, right? I want other authors, other publishers to see that you can take a contrarian point of view, a dissonant point of view, a conservative point of view, and actually make money. Like, where are all the conservative books in Canada? I do my best to interview on my 8 p.m. show any conservative author who's out there. Like I've had Conrad Black on, not that he needs my help. So that's why I want to be on Amazon. So finally, I want to tell you one last story before I go to the Super Chats. I'm a little late for the Super Chats. I promise I'll get there. So I was starting to despair a little bit. But I sent an excerpt of the book. I'm not going to say who, because I don't want to name drop. But I sent an excerpt of the book to a fairly prominent U.S. political leader. Let me just leave it at that. Sent an excerpt, sent the cover, and I said, I'm being blacklisted by Amazon. And they're admitting the reason. It's because I'm contradicting the China World Health Organization narrative. Like, they said that. They're only allowing the official view. That's the word, official. Only official sources are allowed to talk about the pandemic. What? You're a bookseller, mate. You know? No. Only government pamphlets are allowed. We used to be a bookstore, but we only sell government pamphlets. I guess that's why Mein Kampf and Mao's Little Red Book are allowed, because those are government official sources. So anyways, I sent the excerpt and the cover and a little explanation to this fairly prominent U.S. political leader, and I said, I think this is not good. I don't know if this is UN censorship or China censorship or just bad behavior by a left-wing tech company. And wouldn't you know it, it had been banned for 2 months, and then very shortly after I sent it to this US political leader, it's unbanned. Now, maybe that's just a coincidence, but it's up now. It's up now. And that's a happy ending to a bad story. Sort of like the happy ending to the bad story of when we were banned from Toronto City Hall. So, what I propose to do today is I'm going to go through the Super Chats and read them, because I just wanted to tell you the story of how my book, it would have got out. We absolutely would have published that book anyways, but I didn't want to do it in a homemade way. Frankly, Amazon is still sort of homemade. I had a 3-book deal with McClellan & Stewart, which is part of Penguin Random House. Like, that's one of the biggest book publishers in the world. I had a 3-book deal with them. I published Ethical Oil, Shakedown, and The Enemy Within, Terror, Lies, and the Whitewashing of Omar Khadr. So I had 3 official books. Actually, I think I had 4 books with them. I can't even count. But and it was really fun to work with a big publishing company. It's fun to go to the publishing company's offices and meet the editor and go through it and have the back and forth intellectual exchange with the editor, and then the lawyering, and then the book tour, and having a PR aid, and having them set up interviews. It really was such a luxury. It felt luxurious, and I really have nothing but friendly things to say about McClellan & Stewart. And they were so nice to me, and congrats to Doug Pepper, who was the boss of McClellan & Stewart, who took a risk by bringing a ruffian like me in. So I missed the pampering. But if I recall my contract with them, they gave me an advance, but I think I got 15% of the proceeds of the book. All right. I mean, you're not going to get rich writing nonfiction in Canada. Let me just put it that way. But I like Amazon because we can, I hired an editor to look over the book. We had a professional layout guy do the insides. I think you'd agree with me that the book cover is really nice. So, I enjoyed the banter and the collegiality and the process of having a fancy firm. But I'm glad we did this on our own. And frankly, my other books for Penguin Random House, or McClellan & Stewart as it was then called, pardon me, I got the hiccups. It took months or even years to get that done. I wrote my pandemic mini book in like 2 months. Now, it's not 200 pages. I think the print version is just under 100 pages. But I think that's enough. Let me read some Super Chats. Kane Enmark, $2. David is going fantastic work. More ex-cops, please. David is doing fantastic work, and I tell him that. And he just, every day, he's got great stories. Stan Bamford, $20 and 20 cents. Well, thank you for that. Gene Wallace, £3. Wow, I appreciate that. And I tell you, the UK is a crazy place. You know what? Can you go to my Twitter feed? I donated £10 sterling this morning to a young lad in the UK, last name Grimes. I'd never met him in my life. I never talked to him in my life. I had never heard of him until this morning in my life. And then I see Lawrence Fox, a comedian, actor, slight political commentator in the UK, say that this kid, Grimes, is suing the BBC. So I chip in $10, but go down under it and click his link there. Yeah, Darren Grimes. And so I have started legal proceedings. Click on his name. Just click on his name. So look at that young lad. Click on his picture. Look how young a lad he is. I mean, everyone looks like an infant to me when you're as old as me. What would you say this guy is? Like early 20s? 23 is what Justin says. Yeah, like I don't think he's a teenager anymore, but he's a young lad. And so he's suing the BBC. He's got, close that image, and then go to that. Yeah, can you click that video there and pump it up full screen? So this is him, and give me some volume on this, and start from the beginning, and what a glorious accent. I love the different accents in the UK. Can you rewind to the beginning and pump up the sound?
Britain's left-wing metropolitan Remain establishment did everything they could to bring me down. for committing the cardinal sin of being a young working class lad from County Durham that backed Brexit. The Electoral Commission fined me their maximum fine, took me to court applying trumped up charges to me that almost bankrupted me and turned my life upside down. It allowed itself to become part of the Remain mob, a mob that couldn't accept the outcome of our biggest vote for anyone or anything. But I fought back, and with the help of thousands of patriotic Brits around the country, donating an average donation of 30 quid, I won, we won. But there's a far bigger battle raging across the country now. A culture war fighting for the very soul of our great country. The left wants to tear down everything that has made Britain a force for good in the world. The left may have more influence over our culture through the mainstream media, education, and the machinery of the state. But over these last few years, I've learned that David can beat Goliath. And I learned that there's a silent majority in this country that's fed up of the assault being made on the country they love. That's what Reasoned is all about. An online platform for content that talks common sense. Real conservative viewpoints, real conversations with people of all sides. And content that can engage young people with content that speaks to them. Reason's the channel that we will build together, but we need your help to win this. Reasoned is going to be reliant on grassroots donations because we want to be your voice. So please consider making a donation to this new platform and join the fight back against this madness.
I'm told he's 24. Someone in the super chat says that's a Geordie accent. Typically, I'm looking here around Newcastle or Sunderland or whatnot. Now, I don't know. I'm new to this guy, and I see some people are criticizing him for certain things, and I just don't know enough. But what I saw there was a young guy, Brexiteer, piled on by the Remain mob, standing up to cancel culture, and he set up his own YouTube interview video show, and the BBC smeared him, and so he sued the BBC or sent them a libel notice this morning. That's what I sent him the tenner for. Now I see some folks here saying, oh, he sold his guest down the river, blah, blah, blah. I don't have that information. All I know is what a pleasure to see some young person so articulate, and I love the accents. Someone just said that's a Geordie accent. I just don't know all my different accents. I really enjoyed getting to know Tommy's accents and that of his lads. There's different accents all around that. How can one country that's so geographically small have so many accents? And I tell you, in Sunderland, sometimes I didn't even understand. I had to ask. But that's one of my favorite things about the UK. I just can't get enough. I can't get enough of the accents. Maybe because, even a working class accent, to me, it doesn't sound posh, but it just sounds so authentic. Oh, I hear in my ear he's 26. Oh, he's in County Durham. Okay, thanks. Anyways, I guess what I'm saying is it's nice to see someone else fighting back. I'm sure he's imperfect. I'm sure the critics, someone here is saying he is Irish. I don't think that was Irish. Maybe he is. What do I know? I haven't even met the lad. I read his demand. If there was a demand letter, it's what I retweeted. So the BBC, so here's a young lad, and he's trying to have an alternative media, and some big shot CBC host claimed that this guy Grimes boasted that his website is a safe space for bigots. He just didn't say that. They just plain old man. Now, other people, anyhow, it's a great demand letter. I read it. You can find, let's just read his tweet. It says, I've started legal proceedings against the BBC for what they said about me during BBC Radio 4's 6 o'clock news on July 2nd. So I read the letter. It's basically saying you made it up, apologize, and pay for the cost of this letter. And he seems serious. It's a serious law firm. I hope he goes for it. And I chipped in a tenner. Anyhow, that's a bit of a diversion, but I tell you, you see a young lad standing up for free speech and fighting against the BBC. And as I tweeted when I chipped in my tenner, that's what the Brits call a 10-pound note. I said, anyone who's suing the BBC state broadcaster is going to get 10 pounds from me. All right, let's get back to Canada because we got a lot going on here. Let me get back to the super chats. Anyhow, that's all because I saw the pounds. It's all because Gene Wallace gave me £3 sterling. So I want to tell you what I did for freedom in the UK today. I can't travel there like I used to travel because of the quarantine. But there's a lot of things I like to report on in the UK, as you know. Jane Bray, $10. God bless Rebel News. Well, that's friendly, Jane. Thank you. Mike, $5.19, $30. Ezra, David, and Sheila, and to all who work at Rebel News, thank you for bringing us the real news that matters and for putting yourselves at risk. Thank you. Well, it's funny you say that because, there's political risk and legal risk and financial risk, but actually, can you go to the very end of our masterpiece video? Because we end our video where we went to City Hall with 7 bodyguards. We end with a little montage of how our reporters have actually been in physical harm in recent years. And we could even go back further. Some of our alumni who are no longer with us were roughed up too. But look at this. This is very well done. Mocha and Efron did the editing here. Efron himself has been attacked twice, our cameraman and editor. Here's the ending of our video. Take a look. Thank you very much.
Get out. Get away. Don't you. You better not. You better not. You make contact. You're going to go to jail. You're going to jail. Go away. I know.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Get out of my fucking face. I will bring it down. Don't have the right to film me before you go. Hey! Right now, I'd like you to stop taking the picture. Take the picture. Get your triple crop news out of here right now.
Yeah, so in those cases there, Sheila Gunn-Reid was hit by a cameraman in Edmonton, by a NDP activist in Edmonton. He was convicted of that crime and we sued him in civil court. And also, as a personal touch, I bought his name, DionBuse.com, and that URL points to a video of his great shame for the rest of time. In the case of David Menzies, you can see he was assaulted a couple times there, one by Jonathan Yaniv and Yaniv's mother. We are suing for that assault in Vancouver. We're also suing for Kian Bexty, who was also assaulted. David Menzies and our cameraman Ephraim were assaulted by some thug outside the Radisson in Toronto East. I have also purchased the URL RadissonTorontoEast.com. Is that the right one? Yes. If you go to RadissonTorontoEast.com, it will point to the shameful attack by that hotel staff on David Menzies. We're suing them too. In fact, we've already had half the trial. The other half has been postponed by the pandemic. Kian was attacked in Ottawa. We could not find the Antifa perpetrator, but if we ever do, we'll sue him. So my point is, when we say we will protect our people, it's not just a slogan. Ideally, we protect them in advance with bodyguards, as we did when we attended City Hall last week. But you can't protect someone all the time, even, God forbid, the President of the United States. Unless you're living in a bunker, you are at risk. Someone's going to get through in some moment. So certainly, we can't have 24/7 protection for our people. So sometimes things get through. But when it happens, we sue until the end of time. And we sue in a manner that is commercially questionable. And what I mean by that is, we sued that thug Dion Buse. Type in dionbuse.com, DIONBEWS.com. That's some thug who punched Sheila. So we had him charged criminally. Yeah, that guy there. And if you click, you don't have to click. So he was convicted. Look at that guy. He's just like what you think he is. I want to let you know, when we sued him in civil court. Oh, that's the ruling there, right? Yeah. Can you click on that? So that's the ruling there. Yeah, you don't even have to show it. It's just a big, long ruling. Goes through the whole thing. It's a long, what's that, 9-page? It's a 9-page ruling. Go to the very end there where the amount is. So, in conclusion, the plaintiff is entitled to general damages of $1,000. And let me explain to you what I mean by commercially doesn't make sense. In conclusion, the plaintiff is entitled to general damages of $1,000 for personal injuries and $2,500 punitive damages. The claim for aggravated damages is dismissed. I will hear from the parties regarding costs. So that's $3,500, and there may have been $1,000 in costs. I can't really remember. So let's call that $4,500 all in. I recall we spent more than $30,000 suing. We had the whole trial. Why would you spend $30,000 suing when the payoff's $4,500? And we gave, maybe it was $3,500. I can't remember. I think it was $3,500 for Sheila and $1,000 for our legal costs. So we gave Sheila the damages because she's the one who was hit. And by the way, assault and battery and accidents are so litigated, there's really no doubt how much things are worth. I mean, I know it sounds gross, but I say this as a former practicing lawyer. In car crashes, if you lose a thumb, if you lose a toe, and I don't mean to be gross, if you break an arm, let me say that, every single possible human injury has already been litigated and probably appealed. So we know how much a broken arm is worth in the eyes of the law. There's no doubt about it. So if you get pushed, like Sheila didn't have a broken nose. It was more a stunned startle that someone would have hit. So we knew in advance that wasn't going to get more than a few $1,000. I mean, God forbid her arm was broken or something worse. The civil damages would have been much higher. But we knew in advance that we weren't going to get more than $1,000, much more. We got $3,500 for Sheila and $1,000 or so for us. Why would you spend $30,000 suing when the total payoff is under $5,000? Why? What are you doing? Well, you got money to burn? What are you doing? We're making a moral and principled stand. That's what we're doing. We're showing loyalty to our staff is what we're doing, and we're sending a specific deterrent message to Dion Buse, who will forever live with the shame of hitting a woman and being a criminal, and a general deterrence message, which is, don't you touch our people. Don't you touch our people. We won't say, it's not worth it. It is worth it. You touch our people. So that guy in the City Hall video who pushed Efron, we've actually written a letter to the cops saying, help us identify him and prosecute him. And if they don't, we'll track him down. We'll hire a PI, whatever. We'll track him down. We'll sue him ourselves. So that's a little story about that. Let's get back to the super chats. Don't mind me and all my tangents here. Okie dokie. Barbara Baxter, $200. Unbelievable. Keep up the great work, guys. Roll, Barbara, I thank you again. It's just beyond the call of duty. I really appreciate that. Proud Boys Calgary, $7. Proud Boys Calgary and Edmonton having our annual camping trip this weekend. Uhuru, proudboyscanada.com. Sino Partium Comunista de l'Indes. That means the Chinese party, Communist Party must fall. Carbon 14, $20. Well, thank you very much. John P, $20. I don't think it's right how his official sources are directly connected with China. Get a hold on Fox and expose our government fully. Yeah, I've been so busy. Last week I was really busy with that whole City Hall thing. I mean, it took up all our time and effort and attention. I think it was really worth doing. We've just had a lot going on, but so now I feel like I'm a little calmer, and or at least psychologically I don't have the excuse while I'm working on a book. Jack Krauser, $28. Do you think the military will be forced to take the CCP vaccine? I saw that and I found that deeply disturbing. that Trudeau would think of our military as some sort of human guinea pig for anything, let alone a made-in-China vaccine. That's outrageous, and it should be stopped. And frankly, speaking of litigation, I wonder if we can find a Canadian Forces soldier who is being pressed into taking this test vaccine by the Chinese. I would love to sue the government on his behalf to stop that madness. Michael Brace, $25. Hi, Ezra. Love your work. Love all of you. I almost want to be a rebel reporter. All right. Well, if that gets inflamed, if it moves from almost wanting to be to wanting to be, well, I was going to say take some medicine, but don't take the China virus vaccine. But almost wanting to be a rebel reporter, that's probably as far as you want to go, because it is hard work. We do have lots of snacks, though. As you can see, look at how fat I am. Deanna Godet, $10, just received China virus book in the mail today. You did? It arrived already? I didn't know it was shipped already. Okay, well that's news to me. I didn't know it was actually shipping until next week. I will start reading it after the show. Can't wait. Well, thank you, Deanna. I'm nervous because I ordered the book a couple days ago. We ordered some for the office, and then I ordered another copy yesterday just cause. And I got an email from Amazon saying it's arriving Monday. I think, Deanna, you might be the first person I know who's received the book. I'm extremely nervous. I know that sounds odd to say, but when you work on a project for months and a couple editors looked it over and whatnot, but you're the first stranger, like non-insider, to see it. I think you're the first person, well, you are the first person who's said you've actually received it. I am nervous. I hope you like it. I hope you like it. That's that nervous feeling. That's a nervous feeling I've had. I don't know how many books I've published in my life. I think I'm at like 10 now. I feel it every time. It's a thrill, but it's a nervous feeling. Robin McCannum, $2. Jesus loves you all. Well, thank you very much. Fraser McBurney, $12. I should get my copy on Monday. Can't wait. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Fraser McBurney, thank you for your super chat, your regular super chat. I recognize your name. That's when I'm getting my copy too, on Monday. Obviously I've read the book, I wrote it. I've read it in electronic form and I printed it out on our printer, but I don't even know what it looks like in the book. It's a quick read, over 100 footnotes. Some things you've heard me talk about on the show, obviously. Other things I think are new. But really, it's for people who we need to inform. If you're watching this show, you probably are alert to these things anyways. This is for people. That's why I want it on Amazon. I just didn't want our people. I don't want to just preach to the choir. I want new people to see it. Okie dokie, shouting from the cheap seats, $5. Why do people in Toronto have an inferiority complex with regard to New York City? Toronto is beautiful and clean and people are friendly. Can't say that about New York City. Well, I actually find New York a very friendly city. It's a busy city, so people, and they're in a rush, but I have always found it very friendly. I mean, you're going to find the odd, listen, it's a city of almost 10 million people. You're going to find everything there. But now, obviously, in the last 2 months, it's turned into a burnt-out riot zone with madness in the streets. But I think New York's friendly. But that doesn't mean that I need to have an inferiority complex up here in Canada. Damon the Damage, well, it's great to hear from you again. Thank you. As always, you are our super supporter. Thank you. Can you give a sample of the index before I buy the book? I'm going to do one better than that. I'm going to publish an excerpt of the book. It's the same excerpt I sent to that U.S. political leader who may or may not have had any role in getting Amazon to upload the book. So I will publish an actual excerpt on the website. Can you remind me to do that? And while I remember, can you remind David Menzies to do a story on the letter that we sent to the Toronto Police Service asking them to charge that guy who punched Efron? I know that's not your job, Justin, but if I don't say it to you now, I'm not going to remember. And I want David to do a story on that, because I want to let you know that that guy who punched our cameraman, I'm not letting that slide. We had 7 security, but a punch got through. You saw it, right? Well, we got a very clear image of the attacker. I'm sure he's known to police. No charges laid. So we have had our lawyer write to the cops and saying, identify him, charge him. And I want to let you know, I'm going to tell you right now, if the police don't charge him, we will civil suit and what's called a private prosecution under the criminal code. I'm not going to go on a 10-minute tangent on that. But as God is my witness, you touch our people, you assault us, you batter us, you commit a crime against us. Just like we did with Dion Buse, we spent 30 grand. It wasn't so we could get 3,500 back. No one does that. We did it because justice must be done. TrueBD44, thank you again. $20 you should announce throughout the Super Chat, or at least at the end of the amount received by the Super Chats, and keep a running total. That will show us and prove whether David Sheila make more than you or not. That would require lots of calculations. And I'm trying my best to stay focused and alert and reading things. And Justin is trying to do stuff, and sometimes I give him wild goose chases. So I don't know if we have the manpower for that. But after it's all done, YouTube actually adds it up for us. That number's not published, I don't think, but YouTube tells us the total. Julian Borges, $10. Looking forward to reading this, Ezra. Never liked Trudeau for his ridiculous antics, like being a feminist while speaking at a segregated mosque. Good one. But from a policy standpoint, what's his greatest folly? Well, that's funny because I don't think that Trudeau himself is a big policy guy. I think the only policies he really cares about, he's very pro-marijuana. That's something he's deeply into. He's a male feminist, but I don't think he actually, that's just sort of a preemptive strike to cover up for all his philandering, groping, stuff like that. So I don't think it's real. But his love affair with dictators, whether it's the former Soviet Union, where he went with his father, Pierre, whether it's Cuba, he loves Castro, or whether it's now China, which he calls that basic dictatorship, the country he most admires. I think he has an instinct towards authoritarianism that he inherited from Pierre Trudeau. I don't think Trudeau is a details guy, but I think he has, other than marijuana, but I think his greatest folly is that he loves tyranny and he hates America, just like his dad does. His dad did. Dr. Fye, D-R-F-Y-E, $5. Ever thought about audiobooks? I do that a lot nowadays when driving. Yes, and the team here has been encouraging me to record the book, and it's not a very long book. I think the print version is like 93 pages or something. So that shouldn't be too long to read. You know, maybe I'll even do it today. I got the microphone on my desk. It's just like you got 100 things to do, and sitting down and recording a whole audiobook, it's the easiest one to skip and say, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. Well, you know what? A month goes by, and you keep saying you'll do that later. Jaden Haight, $20. We're set up for a prolonged recession and shift towards gold standard currencies worldwide. Inflation will run amok, especially in the U.S. once the dollar collapses. Protect your money, buy gold and silver. I've heard worse advice than buying gold and silver, I'll tell you that. The Winklevoss twins believe in Bitcoin. I like those Winklevoss twins. You know who I'm talking about? They were co-founders of Facebook with Zuckerberg until he screwed them over and paid them out. Graznia Radzivilko. Am I saying that right? A little bit of an accent there. I tried to get it to pronunciate Graznia. Am I saying that right? That's a great name. Thank you for the $5. I am having the same problem you have with my art because I am realistic and they are only promoting abstract. I am left behind. You know, I got to do a show on that. I try and tell my kids that there is such a thing as good art and bad art. It's not all art. Just like there's good poetry and bad poetry. There just is. There's good music and bad music. There just is. Well, I'm going to Google your name and see if I can see the art you're talking about. In fact, maybe you can do that, Justin. Thank you. Julian Borges, $5. Thoughts on native land acknowledgments? It's such a virtue signal. No one is giving up their property to them after all. Also, do you follow Tim Pool? I like Tim Pool. I follow him as to native land acknowledgments. You know, I remember I had a wonderful conversation with an African-American professor out of Eugene, Oregon. This is years ago. This was Sun News Network. We were talking about attempts to ban Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer and a lot of those books because they were written in an outdated language. You want to hear outdated language, read Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. That's a book that when Abraham Lincoln met Harriet Beecher Stowe, he said, "So you're the little lady who started this big war." It was one of the best-selling books in American history that really galvanized opinion against slavery. And but if you read Uncle Tom's Cabin, Life Among the Lowly, and I have a very early edition of that. I only have one antique book at all. I'm not a real collector. But I have one antique book given to me as a gift. And it's a very, very early edition of Uncle Tom's Cabin. It is a wonderful book. It's hilarious and sad at the same time. How can that be? Well, it's written so brilliantly. That book would not be allowed now because there's words and phrases and accents in there that would be deemed racist, even though that was the book that Abraham Lincoln credited in part with not only the war, but obviously the liberation of black slaves. And so about 5 years ago, a little bit more, they were looking to ban Huckleberry Finn. Excuse me. And so I was interviewing an African-American professor of literature from Eugene, Oregon. I can't remember his name right now. Boy, he was so smart. Oh my, I've interviewed him a couple times. I think I talked to him again at the Rebel. We'd have to dig up his name. I'm sorry, I can't remember. I just remember he was from Eugene, Oregon. That part I remember. Oh, I love that conversation. I was being careful because I said, look, I'm not American, I'm not black. This is an American black story, and the book is being banned in America. What do you have to say? And he was talking about different terminology. And we have that in Canada. Is it Indian? Is it Aboriginal? Is it Indigenous? If you said Aboriginal, that was the vogue until about like 2 minutes ago, and now it's Indigenous. Well, is it Afro-American? Is it African-American? Is it black? Is it person of color? So I was letting him carry this heavy conversation. And he said, we can use the word sir. But if nothing changes in the world, what is it other than a trick? Oh, he was so, that's the thing. I think whenever someone gets punctilious about phraseology, oh, it's Indigenous, not Aboriginal. Oh, it's people of color, not colored people. Like, what does the NAACP stand for? National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Well, you would never say that, although back in the day that was absolutely exquisitely put. Now you would say people of color. Okay. Whew. Well, this black professor of literature said, how about let's use the word sir? You could say, no, it's not black, it's Your Royal Highness. Well, he said you could even say that, but if you haven't actually fixed the world, what are you but a poser? And I see the same thing in Canada with regards to Aboriginal issues. Oh no, I very, very, very much want to say Indigenous instead of Aboriginal. And I want to start with a 5-minute shout out to the Anishinaabe Nation or no. How about change the racist Indian Act, mate? Instead of giving $900 million to the Kielburgers, how about fix some boil water advisories in some Northern Indian bands? So as soon as I hear someone virtue signal like that, I think, all right, so they've set the standard for exquisiteness. Have they actually done a damn thing? And the answer is almost always no. I'm going to whip through these super chats. We're going to go past 1 p.m. because we got to get the super chats. B. Bappas, $2, thank you. Vito Anthony D, $2. Ezra, why are you so awesome? You know, that's my favorite interview question is blah, 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 blah. Am I right? But I joke that the favorite interview questions that mainstream media journalists have for Justin Trudeau is, what's it like to be so pretty? So thank you. Census Vitae, $2. Keep up the good work, Rebel Media from Guelph, Ontario. Well, thank you very much. I was just hiking in Guelph the other day. At the university, those trails, that was a great hike. And you look at me and say, Ezra, you haven't hiked anything. You haven't hiked anything. I do a little bit of hiking. A little bit. SN, $5. Ezra Levant is the biggest balls in Canadian journalism. Changed my mind. That is sexual harassment. Pink Phoenix Nails, $5. Why don't we start trial vaccination on prisoners, on our troops? Well, how about on people who volunteer? How about not making it mandatory that we take some frickin' Chinese military virus vaccine? No thanks. Julian Borges, again, $5 from the Jewish perspective. Why is Jesus not the Messiah? What criteria would he have to meet? What accounts for the prominence of anti-Semitism? Well, look, I can't answer that in 1 minute. I don't even know if I could do a proper answer to that in an hour. I'm not an expert in those subjects. I'm going to pass on that question just because I can't. That's a whole kettle of fish. Isha RX Domain Inc., $10, number one fave fan. Thank you. Wendy's Cafe, $10. Good morning, Ezra. Do you know if there's any truth to Sophie filing for divorce from Sockboy Trudeau? Well, I don't think she would file for divorce. It's clear that they're living apart. You could use the word estranged, maybe even separated, although they do come together every couple months for a photo op. Look, that's how Justin Trudeau's family role model was. I mean, Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre, and his mom, Margaret, were constantly fighting, physically even. He would beat her. And they were apart, and they both had very scandalous affairs. I think Justin Trudeau grew up in a house of great dysfunction. And his father was not only a wife beater, and I'm not saying that as an allegation. Can you call that up? Do you know what the Milwaukee Sentinel? If you can find it on Google, Milwaukee Sentinel, Pierre Trudeau, Margaret, macho. If you type in those words, I want to prove to people I'm not making that up about Pierre beating. That's just one newspaper source I recall. So if you go to Google and type Milwaukee Sentinel, Pierre Trudeau, Margaret Trudeau, macho, because after he beat her, she actually said to the Milwaukee Sentinel, it showed he cared about me, and afterwards he was very macho. If that's your dad and your mom, and then they both have scandalous affairs, it's no wonder that you're a bit screwed up. Pierre gave her a black eye. Yeah, that's exactly it. What's the date on that? March 28th, 1978. So Trudeau was 7. Or almost 7. He was 6.5. That's not a good age to see your mom and dad physically punching each other. Hemi Charger 1000, $5. What are your thoughts on the military members storming Rideau Hall? I don't have any more information other than that headline. Obviously, I don't believe in any violence or terrorism. I don't know if that was an act of insanity or what that was. Obviously, I'm opposed to it. Cindy McSeven, $20. Let Trudeau be the one that tests the vaccine. Yeah, exactly right. Him and Bill Gates first. That's what I say. When Bill Gates tests the vaccine on his children, that's when I know that he believes it's safe. And I may have a different opinion in any event. Mike 519, $10. David Menzies is a legend. Oh, he's great, and he's very well received when he goes out and about. David the Dam is $5. Does Trudeau love North Korea? I don't think he's expressed a lot of detail about North Korea because I think he's just so ill-informed on the subject. I don't know if you could find it quickly, Justin, but do you remember when he he was asked about North Korea in a scrum, and there was like a 30-second pause when he was like running all these subroutines, North Korea. Okay, do I say something about China? Is that different than South Korea? Do we like North Korea? Are they the good guys or the bad? Like it was like I think it was a 28-second pause. And he just didn't know what to say. Anyhow, it was just an incredible, it's probably on Twitter, it might be the fastest way to find that. Justin Trudeau, North Korea. It's just, if we find that, it's just, I don't think he knows. Ray W, £5. Thanks, Ezra and Rebel Team. Well, you're welcome, Ray. Jane Bray, $10. Audiobook of Ezra, yes. And I keep on threatening to do the audiobook in different accents or impressions. Now that'll get a human rights complaint. Michael, $5. Loving Rebel News Plus. Joel Pollock was an amazing guest. Can't wait for tonight's episode. Are you selling any signed copies of your new book? Well, we're going to have book signings across the country, and we're going to time them for when the pandemic restrictions are lifted, so we can we'll hop around the country a bit. In fact, we're just booking our first ones in Alberta later this month. In fact, I know the date. I just don't want to tell you until the contract is signed. Julian Borges again, $2. Any volunteer opportunities? Love to lend a hand. Well, we have events. We could use help for those probably. I'll think more about that question. It's a question we should have answered long ago, probably. Maria C., $5. Book arrived today. Thank you. How to Fight Mandatory Mask in Mississauga. Well, you're the second person, Maria, who says the book has arrived. And that's very exciting, and I swear it makes me nervous when I hear that. Because what if it is not good? That's what every author surely must think when their book is out there. West Texas Ranching, $15. We enjoy watching you in San Angelo, Texas. Keep up the fight here in Canada. Thank you. I think you might have sent me a super chat the other day because I Googled San Angelo and I started to look at it, but we ran out of time, and it looks gorgeous there. I sure do like Texas. Thank you for your support. Wendy's Cafe, $10. I'm old enough to remember the scandals with Maggie and Pierre and Elliott Trudeau. A lot of people are unaware that he was so hated a guy tried to assassinate him. Well, I mean, there's assassination attempts for reasons of politics and extremism and terrorism, and also for reasons of madness. Of course, the guy who shot Ronald Reagan, John Hinckley, was just crazy. Julian Borges again. Well, thank you very much. $2. What's your favorite movie? Mine is Casino Royale. Well, I was just telling my kids the other day, I really like Angry Birds. I like The Godfather, but that's more, a little more of a grown-up movie. As a kid, I really liked Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I liked the first Star Wars movie when I was a kid. I'm not really into Star Wars because I'm a grown-up. Who says that? Oh, the chat team says they thought my favorite movie was The Lives of Others. That's an excellent movie. I don't think it is my favorite movie of all because it's a little heavy and a little sad, but it was an excellent, excellent movie. I highly recommend it. I love the series on HBO called Chernobyl. You probably know because I've talked to you about 10 times about it, and I've watched it twice. I was on the plane a lot back then. You know, I said to, it's funny because my kid asked me this just the other day, what's your favorite movie? And I said, I mean, I've watched a lot of movies, we all have in the era of Netflix. I like Megamind, that's another kid's movie that's really funny. I like Dumb and Dumber, although I haven't watched it in so long, maybe I wouldn't laugh at the jokes anymore. I watched Talladega Nights again, that made me laugh. I liked, you know what, there's a movie I watched, it's the only time I've ever done this. I watched the movie in full. And then the second it was done, this was when it was on Netflix, I don't think it is anymore, I immediately watched the entire movie again. Immediately. Because because the ending was such a revelation, so interesting. I wanted to watch the whole thing again because I was surely missing things. And that movie is called Ex Machina. Can we play a tiny bit or just show it? I don't want to lose all the monetization today, but I want to show people, it's ex machina, which is Latin from the machine. There's a phrase in theater, deus ex machina, which literally means the God from the machine. It's a dramatic device where you've written yourself into a corner. There's no way to overcome the plot problem you've created. So you create a deus ex machina, just sort of like a miracle fix, like a suspension of disbelief. In the theater, it would be God would come down and lift someone up or something. So that's what ex machina. It's, yeah, throw the volume up. Oh, that'll get demonetized. So it's about, yeah, this might even. So it's about AI, artificial intelligence. Clearly these are robots. And this youngster, so the guy with the beard there is like the creator of the robot, and the youngster there is to do what's called a Turing test, which is, can you test whether or not it is a robot? Now, obviously it is a robot, but does he actually fall in love with the robot? Is the robot playing mind games with him? Is he playing It was just such a fascinating movie. Oh my God. And like so many of these near future dystopias, like Minority Report, movies that happen like 1 year into the future, they get it. It opens very early with a scene of how, how cell phone companies, like this is one of the ideas in the movie, they're filming you how you talk on your phone secretly. They don't tell you that because they're learning how a mouth looks and how a mouth sounds. And there's 100 little things like there, like I'm not giving away spoilers. I'm just telling you wonderful little brilliant moments. Maybe this is a tiny bit of a spoiler, but the youngster asks the master creator of the robots, did you make this robot look like my porn preferences? He just realizes that it was, and there's so many little threads and themes about we're being spied on by our tech, and we like games and we like artificial intelligence, and what happens if friends and girlfriends become so real you can't even tell. Ex Machina, wonderful movie. What's the name of the actress in there? I forget her name. She also starred in the remake of, I've just forgotten her name. She does a great job. So that's a very long answer to my favorite. I would have to say that's my favorite. No, it's, that's who it is, Alyssa Vikander. She's great. Does a great job. Norfolk for Life, $20. Oh, speaking of Casino Royale, I like The Croupier. That's a great movie. The Croupier. Norfolk for Life, $20. I discovered Rebel News about a month ago. I thought my opinions were rare in today's world. Now I've found like-minded individuals just like me. You've given me hope, given all of us hope. Please never give up. Well, I certainly don't intend to give up. And we keep plugging away in our own way. And as you can see by the subscription count, 1.3 million people share your view at least enough to click subscribe. That doesn't mean they're paid subscribers. It's 1:13. Let's get through a few more of these. Nick Monk, $7. Ezra, look up about the huge blow up this week about Darren Grimes and Dr. Starkey. You need to know about it. Poor Darren, rather naive. Yeah, that's, like I say, I only went very shallow. And I know that whatever the problems there are, anyone who sues the BBC for defamation, I'm going to help with that. So I gave him a tenner, as the Brits say. Julian Borges again, $2. Haha, I'm really giving my bang for the buck. You sure are. Sydney McSeven, $20. Well, thank you very much. All right, so it's 1:14. We've gone on longer than normal. I want to do one last thing. Can we go to see if or where the Amazon bestseller list is right now? Because we just rolled the book out, and I'm having reports that people are getting it. Oh, there we go. Nancy Williams, $5. My paperback for my husband is promised Sunday. My Kindle is expected next week. I can't wait to read it. Well, Nancy, thank you very much. I know I shouldn't say this. I should just quietly think this. But for some reason, it makes me very nervous because no one has read it yet. And although I think it's a good book, maybe it's not. And the only person who can decide that is the reader. Oh, I'm still number 2. Can I do just one fun thing, and we'll set aside 5 minutes, and then we got to go. Oh, we have a guest at 1:30. You know what? Let's just do one quick thing. I want to go to the comments on the book. So I'm hearing that the book arrived in a couple places, but I know for a fact it did not arrive anywhere as of yesterday. But look at this. What makes me laugh is there are already 4 reviews of the book, all of which were made before the book was available. So what's that first one? That first one is 5 stars. Great read. And that's from Cindy MC. Well, how do you know it's a great read? Not only, and click on you see that comments thing. How do you know it's a great read? How do you know it's a great read if you didn't read it? And then L. Stephen, I do not always hold with reviews postulated by the Rebel News, but firmly believe that Canada needs an alternative. Okay, thank you. And then Goat Boy, well, if nothing else, buying the book supports Ezra. That's worth purchase price alone. Well, that's nice, Goat Boy. Okay, True Canadian, 5 stars. Excellent book. Every Canadian should read it and judge for themselves. It's an eye-opener, backed up with proof that the media is not telling you about. True Canadian. How do you know? You wrote that yesterday. No, and what's the one comment underneath it? How do you know? Funny how Amazon will now not allow me to comment on this book. Pressure from above. I can't believe they're letting anyone comment because no one's read it yet. Okay, again, this book is pure insight. It makes for the great reading material. Matthew, how do you know? I can tell by the one bad review that the guy never read the book. Yeah, I can tell you never read the book either, Matthew. Probably glanced over it and drew some personal conclusion. Great content. Lots of facts that support. This is my first read of Ezra's and it's inspired me to read others. Unfortunately, the masses don't get the full picture. I'll never understand how so many people... I know you didn't read the book because it was not... Okay, here's Kim. The book is pure garbage. It makes for great burning material. Well, I know that you didn't have it. It was not available on July 1st. The author of this book is just feeding into the mistrust of Trudeau simply because he's a liberal. If Trudeau were a conservative, this book would never have been written. The globalist agenda is complete and utter nonsense. No country on this earth is completely self-reliant. This is an island unto itself and never will be. This pandemic is the result of Chinese government's failed attempts to contain and control the virus within its borders, but failed to do so. The Chinese government denied anything was wrong. In much the same way the USSR tried to deny Chernobyl's nuclear disaster. Well, yeah, that's it. I mentioned that in my book. Buy it if you want to laugh and waste your money. Now, there was 24 reactions to that. I know we got to get up. Let's just go for 3 more minutes. I know we got to get ready for the interview. Amazon customer. Kim is the new breed of ostrich. Their head is not buried in the sand. It is inserted in the anal area. Now that's fighting words. This review is complete garbage. You must be one of the... I love the debate. Scroll down. I love the debate. Load more comments. Not a single person here has read the book, pro or con. Not a single person in this lively debate. Now, it is a fact that Amazon did ban the book. All right, I just find that very funny. First of all, I love people defending me, even without reading the book. But you have to understand how nervous that makes me. I mean, my name's on the cover. I'm going to bear the brunt of any embarrassment if the book is not good. But imagine the risk you take telling people it's a great book when you have not read it yet. I've read it. I think it's good enough to publish. I'm not saying it's a bad book. I'm not saying it's a good book. It's a book. It's the best book I can do. You get nervous when you wite a book before people see, because you show it to someone for the first time. You're nervous. But at least I can say, yeah, I'm proud of the book. How can you say you're proud of the book if you haven't even received it yet, let alone read it? I find that unusual. There's one more super chat, and then we're going to call it a day, folks, because I got to get ready for an interview. Who am I talking to today? Oh, yeah. It's that Facebook whistleblower. Ryan Hartwood, is that his name? Hartwig. So Project Veritas guy. So he's coming on the show tonight at 8 p.m. I encourage you. For folks who are chipping in super chats, why not go to rebelnews.com and subscribe to my 8 p.m. show? It's $8 a month or $80 a year. I encourage you to do that. Dame of the Damage, $5. It's available on Kindle ebook. I didn't know it delivered it already. But I am pretty sure it was not delivering it 2 days ago when those people said it was great and terrible. All right, my friends, I think I got all the super chats. Did I cover them? Did I cover all the super chats? Okay. Thanks for joining. I'm excited about the book. I am nervous. I'm not play acting nervousness. I've written 10 books, whatever. I'm always nervous. You wonder, is there some terrible error in there? Is it goofy? Is it dumb? Did I get something wrong? Is there a spelling error? You worry about things like that. Will people feel it's a good book? Will they be mad or happy? I really find it amusing, those reviews of people who haven't read it, but when on Amazon, you sometimes see the word verified buyer. That's someone who actually bought it and downloaded it, and you know that because Amazon is the one who gives out that verification. Those are the ones I actually really care about. And those are about to start coming, I get the feeling. All right, my friends, one more last thank you to Barbara Baxter for her amazing $200 super chat. I really appreciate that. Do we have a dog video today? Indeed we do. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. I'll see you tonight at my 8 p.m. show if you can. I'm going to leave you with a dog video that will hopefully make you between 5 and 10% happier. Take a look.